Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and asked yourself, where did the time go? Maybe you moved a little slower this morning. Maybe the silence in the house felt a little heavier. Or maybe, just maybe, your body whispered something your heart wasn't ready to hear. That whisper, dear friend, is why we need to talk today. This isn't a video about fear. It's about awareness. About catching the quiet signals your body and soul send before they turn into something louder and irreversible. Because the truth is, after 60, the signs of deeper decline don't always come with flashing lights. They sneak in, through little habits, subtle changes, a shift in spirit, and if we're not paying attention, we risk missing our chance to act, with love, with clarity, and with courage. 1. The fog of emotional numbness. Not sadness, not depression, just a quiet flatness. You still do your routines, meals, TV shows, maybe even church on Sundays, but the spark is gone. You're not crying, but you're also not laughing. You're not miserable, just floating. And let's be clear, this isn't just aging. It's your soul signaling that something's off. That joy isn't being fed anymore. That purpose has dimmed. One woman named Jennifer, now in her 80s, said this in a comment that struck a chord. Many of the signs described in the video, that's me. I'm okay living alone, but this helped me feel seen. That's what emotional numbness does. It makes you invisible to yourself. But here's the good news, the spark never fully dies. It just waits. Sometimes all it takes is a small act of courage, starting a new hobby, reaching out to a friend, or simply whispering, I want more from this season. Because this season, it still belongs to you. 2. Social withdrawal in disguise. It starts innocently. You tell yourself, I'm just tired today. I'll skip that phone call. You start saying no to dinners, skipping walks, forgetting birthdays. At first, it feels like rest. But before you know it, it's isolation. Lori, now living alone in her later years, put it this way. I'm not disabled, just old. I've outlived my spouse and my kids. I still manage, but cooking? Cleaning? It just doesn't feel urgent anymore. That subtle drift into quiet solitude? It's dangerous. Not just emotionally, but physically. Loneliness is as harmful as smoking, studies show. Your heart doesn't only beat for blood, it beats for belonging. So if it's been a few weeks since you heard someone's voice, if the silence feels too comfortable, that's your cue. Pick up the phone, say yes to lunch, let someone in, because we weren't meant to do this life alone. 3. Loss of curiosity, when the world stops pulling you in. This one's sneaky. You used to be curious. You read, learned new recipes, tried new shows or traveled. Now, you say things like, I've seen it all, or, what's the point? And you don't even realize how your world is shrinking, until one day, it's just the same four walls, the same routine, and the same lack of spark. Suzette, a 64-year-old cancer survivor, shared this. It's not always easy to feel grateful when you can't lose weight despite eating so little. But I try. I keep going. Curiosity is fuel. When it fades, the body follows. But here's the secret, you can light that fire again. Even at 60, 70, 80. Especially then. Try something new today. A new flavor. A new show. A new thought. Because the day you stop reaching is the day you start retreating. A moment to breathe. Let's pause for a second. Close your eyes with me, yes, even now, and take a breath in and out. Do you feel that? That's life. That's the only moment that matters. And you're still in it. That alone is reason to reach again. To care again. To live again. You are not broken. You're just wise enough to notice the signs. Coming up next, we'll dive deeper into the next 3 signs, subtle physical cues and shifts in how we speak, move, and plan our days. Because often, What seems small on the surface is actually the body's quiet way of saying, I need your attention. So far, we've talked about emotional numbness, isolation disguised as comfort, and the fading of curiosity. These signs speak to the heart and soul. Now let's move a little deeper, to the body. Because sometimes, your body knows long before your words catch up. And if we listen closely, we might just save ourselves years of regret, confusion, or even danger. 4. Physical hesitation, the quiet beginning of giving up. Let's be honest, after 60, a little joint pain, a slower step, a groan getting out of bed, these are normal. But there's a difference between discomfort and hesitation. This kind of hesitation? It doesn't come from the body, it comes from the mind. You think, maybe I shouldn't lift that. Better not try the stairs today. I'll just wait until someone else can help. And while that sounds safe, it's not. Why? Because the more we avoid, the more the body believes we can't. And so it starts to slow. Muscles shrink. Balance fades. The little voice of caution becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Nancy, nearly 76, described her reality like this. I still cook, sometimes even do canning. But I'm always exhausted. I go to bed by 5 p.m. and wake up at 9 a.m. That's just how life is now, very, very old. That kind of exhaustion isn't always about weakness. Sometimes, it's the result of shrinking your movement, your goals, your world, without even realizing it. So here's the shift. Don't try to be 40 again. Just try to challenge yourself gently. Stretch for 5 minutes. Walk a little farther. Reach for that high shelf once a day. Show your body it's still needed. You're not fragile. You're just out of practice. 5. Future talk when language starts to let go. Have you caught yourself saying things like, "Oh, I won't be around for that. Why plan a trip now? That dream? Too late." These phrases might feel like harmless jokes. But they're not. They're signals. How we speak about the future reveals how much of it we still believe we have. And when you start casually crossing yourself out of it, the body listens. Tyler, whose mom is 88 and facing Parkinson's-related dementia, shared this. She can be very hurtful. It's tough. We do our best to keep her safe, clean, and comfortable. That's all we can do. When someone begins giving up on the future, it's not always because of age, it's because they've stopped seeing possibility. The fire has dimmed, and they no longer feel like they belong to what's ahead. But here's the powerful truth. Your future isn't just about decades, it's about tomorrow. What could next week look like? That birthday, that garden, that trip you always dreamed of? Talk about your future, even if it's small. Even if it's a plan to sit in the sun on Friday or read a book again by summer. Speaking hope changes the course of everything. 6. The quiet disconnect from yourself. This one is perhaps the most subtle and the most sacred. It's not about memory loss. It's not even about depression. It's about no longer asking, "How am I?" You go through the motions, wake, eat, sit, sleep, but you've stopped checking in. You haven't asked yourself what brings you joy in months. You haven't made a decision that came from your spirit in ages. You feel like a version of yourself is fading, and you don't know how to get her back. Marjorie, in a heartbreaking moment of clarity, said, "All I want is calm companionship and gentle support. I get overwhelmed so easily now." And that feeling? It's so common, and so often ignored. Here's the gentle truth. We are not just bodies aging, we are souls evolving. And that disconnection you feel? That's a signal, not a sentence. It's your spirit calling you home. Try journaling. Try praying. Try talking to yourself like you would to your best friend. Ask, "What do I need today to feel more like me?" Then do that thing. Even if it's tiny. Especially if it's tiny. Because you are still in there. The laugh, the story, the strength, it's all still there. You just need to invite yourself back. Let's take another breath. In through the nose, and out. You're still here, still alive, still capable of connection, movement, meaning. And here's the gift, awareness. By noticing these signs, not with panic, but with presence, you've already started a shift. You've already said, I matter. And in the next and final part of this journey, we'll talk about what to actually do with all of this, how to turn awareness into gentle, empowering action. Because it's not too late. It's never too late to return to yourself. Let's take a moment to breathe together, again, not because we've reached the end, but because we're arriving at a new beginning. We've talked about signs that sneak in, that emotional numbness that dulls the spark, the slow pull into isolation, the fading of curiosity, the hesitation in your movements, the way you speak about your future, or stop speaking about it altogether, and that subtle drift from the person you've always been. These aren't just warning signs, they're invitations to return, to reflect, to reconnect. Because here's what I need you to know, what maybe no one has said to you in a while. You are still here, you still matter, and it is not too late. The realization is the turning point. Whether you're 64 or 91, living independently or needing help with daily tasks, there is no finish line that makes you less you. In fact, the awareness you have now? That's wisdom. Antonia, reflecting on her own journey, said, I wish I had paid more attention to my aging relatives. Now I'll be more mindful of my own journey. That's what this video is about. Not regret, but presence. You've lived through so much. You've survived loss, loved deeply, raised families, built legacies. Even if the world doesn't always see them, you are still becoming, still learning, still allowed to want more from your days. What can you do, starting now? Let's make it simple. You don't need a big plan. You don't need to fix everything. You just need one loving choice, made today. Here are a few gentle but powerful steps you can take. Call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Even just to say, you crossed my mind. Step outside for 5 minutes. Feel the sun, the breeze, the now. Write down one thing you're grateful for. Or one thing you're curious about. Stretch your body. Remind it that it's still needed. Plan something for next week. A visit. A treat. A walk. A reason. These may sound small, but they are life-changing when done with intention. Because small is how life shifts, not in fireworks, but in flickers of choice. And you, my friend, are still the author of this chapter. A word to those caring for a loved one. If you're watching this because someone you love is showing these signs, thank you. Thank you for noticing. For showing up. For caring. Like Tracy, who once said, "This happened with my partner. I didn't understand it at the time and took things personally. I wish I had known more so I could have been more loving." Now you know more, and that knowledge is a gift. Use it gently. Hold their hand. Speak softly. Be near, even in silence. As Mary reminded us, when people grow mean or withdrawn at the end, it's often the body speaking, not their true personality. Don't take it personally. Remember who they were before. What a beautiful act of grace that is, to remember someone's true self, even when they can't show it. This is not the end, it's a return. You don't need to fear these signs. You need to honor them. They're not an ending, they're a calling. A quiet invitation to come back to life with awareness, with softness, and yes, with boldness too. Because you're still here. You're still breathing. And as long as that's true, your story is still unfolding. So let's return to presence, to purpose, to connection, to joy. Your turn. Let's make this a conversation. If this message touched you, if even one sentence made you nod or tear up, tell me in the comments. What sign resonated most with you? What's one thing you're going to do differently starting today? Your story might be the very one someone else needs to hear. And if this video helped you feel seen, understood, or inspired in any way, please like the video. It helps this message reach others. Share it with someone you care about. Subscribe so you never miss a moment of encouragement your heart deserves. Because here you're never too old, never too far gone, and never ever alone. You are a light, keep shining, and I'll see you in the next chapter.